Okay, I'm calling the meeting to order. We'd like to welcome Lauren, our new member.
You're on the letter. Yeah, go ahead.
Welcome to the jungle, the historic jungle.
Patrick and Emily are the first on the agenda, 22 personage.
Okay,
So the last time we met with them, would like join us?
come on down.
The last time we met, there was discussion about the. Oh, these are the new ones. Okay.
Yeah.
Just gonna-
You guys can share the room.
Yeah, I said we only needed one because it's just to deal with the we discussed the wood stove, which has been removed entirely from the project. So that's what these drawings represent.
And a little reformatting as per some of the requests at the November meeting, I think it was.
For our new member, why don't you just briefly recap what you're proposing to do?
Oh, let me do the photo that helps too. The house over,
Yeah, I've got color photos too, if you want. Demo siding, demo the front porch, replace windows, replace siding. New roof. New roof buildup to meet insulation code and, yeah, new front door.
And these are
Those are the windows, yeah. I salvaged the windows, salvaged the door. It's a Marvin window. They're all casements. The door, I'm not sure the manufacturer, but it's SDL. Yeah,
Well, it's a wooden and glass door.
the windows were previously loved windows. They're not
yes.
historic windows.
I know what I'm looking at.
All right, I'll open it up to board members for questions and comments.
So other than the stove being removed, what exactly changed?
nothing.
Oh,
Yeah, just did some reformatting to make it clear what was
got it.
being altered
Okay.
and what was
On the drawing.
outside of the scope. Yeah,
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. I don't have any questions.
Yeah, so I think we could potentially in the future, based on your plans, talk about the rear addition again and all of that stuff. But for right now, the request is just the windows, the porch, the door, and the adjustments to the roof pitch.
Well, and also the front, front porch.
yeah.
Okay, but you have a fiberglass door in the back, which is not visible from the public right away, right?
Right.
So the big thing that is noticeable, side, and front.
We're not talking about the addition in the back at this point. Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's down the line.
Just saying as it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And more than likely that the fiberglass door in the back would get
At that
replaced.
point?
Yeah.
I think it's a very promising beginning to a very long project. But yeah, I think definitely the changing the siding, updating the windows.
Is the width of the opening changing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shrinking the opening.
Shrinking the opening.
Yeah, and certainly the energy efficiency in the roof is a great improvement, so I don't have any concerns as it pertains to the design guidelines, the materials all seem, great.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this several months ago. I think it's a great, I like all the changes you've made, so I don't have any questions or real input. Otherwise.
I mean,
I think.
You wanna crush the dreams?
It's gonna look a lot better.
Thanks.
okay, do I have a motion concerning the application?
I will move to approve the application as submitted.
A second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 4-0, done,
All right. Excellent,
done,
thanks.
done, done.
Much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, thanks for your patience while we got it all sorted.
No problem.
Yeah, I'll put that back.
You can keep that, actually, I can give you this whole packet, this is an extra that I printed if you want it for records.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
but,
We'll put it all-
one
we'll
for
put it all
record.
in your folder.
I take one just to, yeah, to process the CBO.
All right.
So I will do that over the weekend and then he will send it to the building inspector. So
Okay.
you'll hear from the building inspector when it's all, when your permit's ready.
Great,
And you'll be copied on the, the notice to the building inspector,
excellent. Thanks so much.
okay?
Good luck, everyone.
Right.
Okay, 10 Julia Lane.
That's Joe is joining us.
Good
Good
job.
evening, everyone.
So talk to us about the new shop signage.
So Joseph Thompson, architect representing the tenant for the second space proposed to be built out at the Butterfield Building 1 that recently finished construction. We've been before the board past couple months for the first tenant, Dancing Dialogue, and for the window alteration on the west facade. This tenant, their frontage is below the new hanger rod canopies that are on the building. And so we're proposing a freestanding channel letter, non-illuminated, 1-inch depth, dark bronze, historic type Times New Roman font entitled The Parlor. It'll be like a high-end hair salon, basic salon services. It's intended to complement the signage that's been approved for Dancing Dialogue by color. Font style slightly different because the Dancing Dialogue's font is unique, and that was sort of considered a local Cold Spring brand, and they were allowed to bring their font over. But a historic font, I think, should be complementary.
Okay, how is it mounted?
Freestanding on top, is that?
It is. So usually what they have is a bar undermount that the letters are fastened to the bottom, and so it's concealed. If you like, I have a photograph of a similar installation. I could screen share if the board would like to view it.
Great.
Let me just try to screen share. It says it's host disabled. I don't know if that's something we can activate.
Give me 1 second. All right, you should be able to share now.
Perfect. Yes, thank you. Can the board see the screen?
Yes.
This is a modern font in a more modern building. We reconstructed in Ardsley a few years ago, but that's the type of signage where the mounting is concealed, the letters are freestanding. You don't see the mounting bar. Sometimes I've seen installations where the bar is midpoint on the sign, but I kind of find that objectionable. So there is a method to do that where the bar is at the bottom.
Where is it? It looks like the bar, or I don't know what, if I'm using the word that you're using, the bar is kind of dissecting the H in this drawing.
No, that's not,
No, so in the drawing, I'll zoom in here.
Right. Yeah,
That line is just, that's some of the building masonry profiles in the background. So that's in the background of the sign.
no, sorry, the tie-in to anchor the awning,
the tieback.
the tie back.
The tie back,
You've got three anchors for the
The
awning.
awning, yeah.
I'm just gonna pull up a picture, photograph of the building.
Yeah. Cause it's hard to tell with this. In this view,
Should have one that,
this is mounted to the awning, like
Right.
right behind the H, that's gonna look kind of strange, isn't it?
Well,
the tie backs are set back. I don't know if you can see this right now, but
pretty far back.
Okay.
close to a foot, it appears. That's pretty substantial, so I don't think it'll appear that there's a conflict when they're in the foreground.
And this is just the store, this is just the French doors on the left, not,
Correct, so zooming out to the overall profile, the first tenant, I'll say, took the first two bays here. The second tenant has taken one bay, so it's a fairly narrow space.
okay,
And then leasing hasn't finalized, but it's anticipated we may have probably two more, but to be determined,
okay.
possibly three.
And I just need to bring Lauren up to speed as far as the peculiarities of the signage applications. So a number of years ago, there was a lawsuit and we were sued because somebody who wanted to put up a sign, was not allowed. And so there was a lawsuit and basically the decision of the court was that we had to, as quickly as possible, review any signage applications. And the person who wanted to put up the sign could put up the sign. And ultimately, we still had review powers, but we couldn't review content because this was a sign that somebody wanted to put up in a political argument. And so it was deemed to be a First Amendment issue. So we have no control over the content, and typically we don't say very much in dealing with what the sign says. What we wind up dealing with is construction and how it's mounted on the building. So, anybody have any questions or comments?
No. I don't.
Yeah, no, I think it's fine. I think probably whoever takes that next bay is
I have their own sign. No,
their own
hopefully,
sign, but probably we're gonna want it to be mounted in the same way, I would imagine, right?
That's a concern of the owner too, is that the owner also wants uniformity in the signage to make sure we have a cohesive final appearance, depending on who moves in here. The plan would be that this would be, is intended to be the model signage for the other tenants to follow. So ideally, what we were anticipating is that the 2 or 3 additional signs to follow would be relatively same size, same finish, same font, same mounting manner on the hanger rods, because the 3 other entry doors of the unoccupied areas all have hanger rod canopy above them. So it's really the only way I know how to install signage is, with hanger rods, is to mount them, above, and it usually turns out pretty attractive. So we'd apply this uniformly across the other 3 would be the intent.
Cool.
do I have a motion concerning the application? Lauren?
Oh, would you like to move?
Well,
Why don't I move and you can second it?
I will second.
I will move to approve the application as submitted.
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 4-0. Okay, done.
Thank you very much, everyone. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Joe is one of our most frequent guests.
Hopefully another good one coming soon.
If you bring your stamp card, we'll give you a frozen yogurt at the next meeting. So if
Okay,
no changes are made, then it's approved as submitted. If we mark up the drawings, then it is approved as modified, and then we just say what the modification is.
okay, next victim. Oh, I'm sorry, applicant. Come on down, Carol.
Next are Ken and Carol.
Hi, okay, this is Carol.
You want to join us at the table?
On Zoom from Renewal by Anderson, we have Joe Pache and Nick Clem.
Hi, guys.
Hello. So.
Hey, guys.
Do we have a chair? Well,
Oh.
I thought there was. They're all kind of hooked in.
You sit up and speak.
Or something on the hall.
Here.
The main thing is the wind.
We are,
Why don't you tell us what about your project?
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna explain the project.
Well, okay, I think the two storm doors shouldn't be an issue, we're basically replacing like the front door and the back door. If the back door is on the side, you can't be seen by anybody. That's not an issue.
all right, let us find the, yeah, here it is. So we can look at we're a very visual board.
That's what
You need to look at, pictures and. Okay.
That would be the front door.
okay.
All right, let's start with the front door. With the doors, right, because front and rear doors are being replaced,
Storm
The storm.
door. Storm door.
storm doors.
There's a picture of the replacement door, I thought I just saw one.
It's not an actual picture, but it is a description and it's a rough picture. Yeah, that's what that's what it's doing.
Right,
Oh,
okay,
this one,
Yeah.
yeah.
That would be the front door.
Okay.
Storm door, that would be the back one.
Right.
right, and what I need is a picture of the existing. So this would be on top of the existing,
We would take the existing storm door off.
okay,
And the
and
wooden
you're gonna
door,
replace it with this storm
wood,
door.
the wood glass door would remain.
So this is the front, that's the rear.
If you look at page 3 of the original packet,
Yep,
you can
Got it.
see 100C is the
Right.
front storm door.
So the kick plate on the bottom, the new door will be a little bit smaller. The
Yeah, you're actually getting more light.
Yeah.
Will be bigger, and the finish is a little bit different, we'll have a nicer finish for the, doorknob.
okay,
Right,
and the back door we can't see because it's all the way up
if you go to page 6, the back door is 100A,
Yeah.
and that's,
And we're gonna go with something
Well,
simple,
actually,
not so deep.
Page 5 gives you a good look as to where it is,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Mhm.
All right, any questions on the front door, because realistically, the back door is not really visible.
I. I have questions on the front storm door.
No, I mean, it is essentially an in-kind replacement, it's just the front of the luxury glass panel. I mean, that's really. And I did with the rear. nothing.
Not visible.
Okay. So let's. Any other comments or questions concerning the front door?
No.
Okay, so now let's talk about the windows. Am I correct that we're talking about doors and windows, right?
yes, that's right. So the house,
So why don't you tell us about the house?
the house is over 100 years old. So the original windows are still in the house, and obviously they're drafty, they're rotting, they're getting moldy. The kitchen extension has a total of 3 windows, which we believe that was probably done in 1960. So you're still talking that they're age approved. So we want to replace all the windows. And I guess the first issue is that we're going with renewal by Anderson, which uses Fibrex, which is a wood composite, which I think, you've approved before. They say they've done work in the historic district. I do have a description of the Fibrex here. And I think Nick Clem, maybe be able to put on Zoom, I think he's got
Thank you.
a sample of the window.
The revolutionary composite material, wow.
We want to go with the best.
All right, so who wants to tell us about Fibrix?
Well, I'd be more than happy to answer any questions or talk to you guys. So basically, the Cyberx material aesthetically looks like a wood window that's painted, but maintenance free forever. So it won't warp, fade, crack, rot, corrode. It's something where aesthetically I have pictures of multiple jobs I've done in landmark historical societies where you can look at a picture side by side of the original windows and our new windows. And aesthetically, it's designed to look like an original window. Would you mind if I share my screen real quick?
Nick, you're frozen, so I don't know if we're going to, there you go. I made you a
Oh, I'm
code.
sorry. Did you guys hear any of that said, or?
I think we heard you, and
Yeah.
you said you were gonna share some pictures?
Yes, perfect.
You should be able to share on our end, it looks like you're frozen, so I don't know if it's your connection.
I'm doing a share screen now. Can you hear me?
We hear you, but we can't see anything being shared.
Can you see the screen or no?
Yes, it's just a white screen. Now it's a house, now it's pictures.
Wait, so can you see the picture of that house, the gray siding with the white?
Yep.
Okay, so if you look at this house, the top windows are 100-year-old wood windows. On the top, every single window on the top of the house are the original windows to the home. And on the first floor are our custom-built Anderson renewal windows. So aesthetically, it has that soft matte finish where it's going to look aesthetically like original to the home, where you could kind of see the comparison on the top to the bottom. Here's another pic. I don't know if it came up, but you can see on the first, we changed all the windows without damaging anything on the outside. So it's a very clean installation where it will keep the house aesthetically eye-pleasing and historically accurate. Can you hear me or no? I feel horrible if you can't hear me.
We can hear you, but it's still the same image of the shingle-sided house.
I don't know if I should just give it a second.
While you're doing that, let me ask a
Oh,
couple
there we go.
questions. Okay. All right, on number 7. What is going to be new? What is remaining?
That window is in the narrow alleyway, and so that's gonna be replaced.
Okay, but I mean, you know, and I understand that all the windows, all 17 windows are going to be replaced. But it says, molding will not be touched. One of the reasons we chose renewal by Anderson was
Interior molding, the house.
Yeah.
They don't remove the molding, and they don't touch your siding on the outside.
okay. So my question is that looking at this picture, what is going to be new? What is going to stay?
My understanding is all this here, the window itself comes out.
Right,
Right.
comes out.
Right, and the frame stays.
Okay.
That-
Now, this is not wood, right?
No, the house was vinyl sided back in '86,
Okay,
and that's aluminum trim. I
aluminum.
believe it's aluminum.
Okay,
So these are, and we talked about this over email, but these are, the design that's proposed are insert replacement windows. So they're gonna have, so the sashes will be removed and then the units will go in with 2 sashes and a frame.
right. Well, but the thing is that what's coming out is also is the same thing. In other words,
What's coming out is a wood, these are the original wood sash windows.
oh, okay.
So
With,
your
with,
sashes are
with
gonna be-
storm
But
windows
they have-
on the
but they have
exterior.
Aluminum screens and storms over
They've
them.
got the triple tracks
which
on
is
the
really
outside.
ugly.
That one window there,
That doesn't.
that's the only window that's just storm, yeah.
Yeah, but the window's also nailed shut.
Yeah, that's the other side.
Well, that's your storm defense, and it keeps the bugs out. So,
Guys,
Okay, I see.
if you could
I see.
pitch an insert window with new aluminum finishing trim to give you an idea of what it would look like exactly on that home. With that,
so these types of replacement windows,
Window frame,
yes,
but it's not just the sash going in, there's an additional
Yeah.
frame going in,
because the
And-
sashes are held together as a
and then-
unit,
and then the sash.
right?
So we're actually losing quite a bit of.
But can I show you a picture with Renewal by Anderson, they have something where you can, with your, camera, you can like superimpose their window.
Right.
So this is, I didn't take, maybe we did, but so this is our window upstairs in the hallway.
Right,
And that's the bullseye molding which we want to protect.
right.
So that's our existing window. And this is what the Renewal by Anderson, it has got the 4 panes, we would do the 2/2.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't see much of a difference. Maybe you do. But our existing window is like 1.5 inches. The wood is 1.5 inches. That's not much, yeah, that's not much bigger.
Right.
To me, it's not.
So what is the thickness of the frames, Nick, that hold the sashes that are going into the window opening?
so if you do a custom built insert window, and some of the insert window is hidden by like the stop moldings and the capping, but the actual thickness of the frame is 3 1/4 on each side.
3 1/4 is the frame, and then the sashes are,
Yeah, so I can give 1 7/8 inches, I believe.
sorry, what,
1 7/8 inches on each side of frame, and then how much of for the sash before the actual glass begins.
So from frame to glass, I can give you the exact measurement. Just give me 1 second.
Okay.
We don't have that information in the windows, so it's.
right,
There's 1.5 inches. I measured.
so the,
From the bullseye molding to the glass is 1.5 inches.
on your existing windows,
Yes,
From the interior.
yes.
This window's the aberration.
yeah,
That's a weird window.
but you gave us the best photo.
But because the alleyway is so big, I had to stand right next to it.
You gotta look at the picture of the window above this one, like this.
Yeah,
But it's only 3 feet to work with.
Right here, this
yeah, this in here. Yeah,
wide.
this piece here.
Yeah, but you're measuring from that 1.5 inch measurement is on the interior. So
Right.
part of the window is gonna be covered with
Right.
with that trim and
Right.
molding, so the outside is possibly a little bit bigger, probably, but depending on how much trim is on the
Remember
exterior
too,
as
we're taking
well.
the storms off, so you can get a better
Right.
view of the
Yeah, but
window.
I'll
right.
have to run this one on full screen with no.
We're not hoping to eliminate the moisture between the storm and the window, it freezes over all winter.
Right.
I think they're
except-
trying to get us some information, but.
Yeah.
Except if you look at, for example, this window, you can see that the storm window is actually to the outside of the original window. See, what our concern is that from what we understand, the replacement windows, they're going to take out the sashes, which are the movable parts. And then they're gonna plug in a whole new window, which includes the sash. And so as a result, you're gonna wind up losing glass because it needs to accommodate not only the frame, but then but also the sash.
But to me, it's so minuscule, it doesn't bother me at all. I
we
don't
don't have-
want my molding ripped apart, and I don't want my siding ripped apart, and this is the best way to preserve what we love about our house. I mean, we bought our house because of the bullseye molding on all the windows, it was brought down to its natural wood. It's gorgeous. I don't wanna touch it.
Yeah,
and
you
this is
wouldn't
the
need to
best
do
way.
that. You wouldn't need to touch the interior, destroy the interior molding to do it. To do a replacement window in a different method. So we don't have the information. How much glazing, how much glass is going to be lost. If you're saying 1.5 inches is what you're measuring.
Yeah,
We already know, we're waiting on this information, but 1 7/8 inches is just the frame, plus how much of that, you're talking about potentially 2 inches of glass all the way around the entire window that is gonna be, it's shrinking it
Yeah,
in,
shrinking
so.
it down.
It's hard to, without that information, it's a little hard to.
And what happens to the cavities where the sash weights are? They're just left whole?
Probably.
So, so everything contained, I could show you a sample real quick. Just, I have the measurements of anything you want. I'll show you something real quickly if you.
I don't know how she-
We just moved into that. This is removed by Anderson window. So if you it's how sleek it is, this is this window here will be the most amount of glass to frame ratio in the entire industry. So you could see this. This is the frame. The frame is roughly like 1 inch. Then you could see from the edge of the frame.
oh,
Thank you.
What it does is yes, you take out the old sashes, you custom build the insert window to fit in without damaging anything, and you can see how sleek it looks. Anything contained into this system where this is our window here too, but you can see here, like look how clean that looks. That's the actual insert frame and the sash. Because the Fibrex is so strong, we can maximize the glass to frame ratio. There's not another insert window in the industry that will give you more glass to frame ratio than a renewable by Anderson window. To be fair, this is the top of the line Anderson window installed by Anderson. And you can see here, this is what it would look like on the inside. This is what it looks like on the outside. So the frames, there's no difference between a new construction window and an insert window. The only difference is there's a receiving curve. Like on the inside, there's an extension jamb. So if you take this same window, put an extension jamb, I could put an extension jamb on this window, but then I'd be forced to rip off all their siding, all their moldings, and it's really it's not necessary at all.
What is the dimension of the frame and the sash before the glass starts? What is the width of that?
Let me grab a taser, but it's not more than, it's a little less than 3 inches. From here to here, it's like, call it 3 inches. I think it's 2 5/16, but call it 3 inches.
2 5/16 is like 2 1/4.
I'm doing it's right at 2 15/16, whatever it is. It's right. It's call it 3 inches.
Okay, so 3 inches. So you're losing.
I mean, listen, it's hard.
The height, 6 inches of depth.
Yeah, it's hard we're getting a 1.5 inch dimension that's on the interior from your trim. So that's not, we're only looking at the exterior of the house. For all we know, it might be more than that, which would be in your favor on the exterior, right? From the aluminum trim to the start of the glass.
Right.
That's what we're looking at. So it might even be more. If it's more and it's closer to what they're saying, that's less of an issue, but almost doubling, if we're using that 1.5 inch dimension and we're at close to 3 for a new window, that's 3 inches of glass that's being lost, and that is definitely going to be noticeable looking at the window.
Right.
So I think a little more information.
And the thing to keep in mind is that, this example that they gave you, that's a large window. Your windows aren't that big. I mean, I was looking through these things, through the order receipt. and I think that all of them are like 31 inches wide.
Mhm.
So, when you lose something on
10%.
on 31 inches, that, that it's a noticeable reduction. Whereas something where, the window is maybe 4 foot or something like that, it's not as noticeable as it is with the smaller window. And you've got some windows here, for example, the one that we were looking at is 106. That is
The kitchen, one of the
24 inches wide.
Right.
Yeah, that's one of the kitchen ones.
Yeah. So, I do have some hesitation, as far as, this installation method.
You have to, a lot of these windows aren't visible from the street.
Okay,
Yeah, and I
well,
think that
that's
that's
true.
something that we
Okay.
should review before we go forward
Right.
with alternatives. The lot line, what we're calling the alley, opposite from the garage. South side of the house. Um,
2 to 3 feet wide.
yeah, that is totally not visible, nor is the rear and the rear addition because
Right.
of this extra bump out. So I think for certainly two facades of the house, it's, I would argue, outside of
To the
the
front,
public right of way. No, the side,
I think
The alley side here, and then the
the
rear.
alley side and the rear.
So I think
no, I'm talking about the ones that are visible.
No, I'm saying the ones that
Yeah.
aren't visible.
Okay. Yes.
As
Sorry.
far as the ones that are visible are concerned, we're talking about primarily the front, which is 5. Is anything happening to the gable? So it's these 5 windows in the front. The side, the garage side is also visible as well, but I think we can be a little bit more flexible there because it's a little bit further from the
You
street.
can take a better picture, you could barely see the windows from the street.
Oh, that's from the rear, yeah.
I would also just quickly interject, I know this is the back, so,
That's the alley.
or the alley side, so this is not the right window, but it's the clearest picture, right? I think what we're learning is we have about, on the new window, about 3 inches from basically this point to where the glass begins. So if we have the information, at least for these front windows, the same points on these windows from the edge of the aluminum trim to where your glass begins.
Mhm.
If it's more than that 1.5 inches, which you
Mhm.
measured from the interior,
Mhm.
it might be 2 or 2.5 inches, in which case all of a sudden that percentage of lost glass is a whole lot
And this one
less.
is a great example.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
so
the
I think
clearest view.
what I would recommend that we do, if we sort of are agreeing that our concern is primarily the front facade, which is how we reviewed the project on Main Street, which is a much more prominent house than yours.
Mhm.
Don't get me wrong. And also it's like
Prominently
on the
located.
sidewalk. What we ended up approving for that project were a combination of single unit replacement windows on the rear and on the back of the driveway. For the front facing Main Street, they did sash replacements, which are new windows, but 2 movable sashes with double pane glass for the energy efficiency. I think for us to be able to make the best decision about how this installation method affects this particular house would be to get a little bit more information for these front windows of how big the windows from the outside, because again,
Yeah, just tell us.
we're not in. So from the outside, yeah, from the outside, what's the width of the glass now? What will it be reduced to? And how does that compare to the overall scale of the window?
Because they said they could do anything for the front. See, my goal today is to at least get approval on all the windows except for the front 5. So we can start to move forward with the process. And then they're all off-site. So when they get back and come back to the house, we can then determine how to move forward with the front 5.
Yeah, and I think so that measurement
Yeah, just tell
that
us what
we,
you want
right,
the
that measurement is important, and then also cut sheets from
Cut sheets for the
Anderson,
windows
so we can
themselves.
actually see, since the connection's so bad.
Yeah, so I apologize.
Then let me.
I have my engineer on the phone. I have the exact measurements for you guys if you want. And I have this spec sheet ready to go as well. but the frame is only 1 3/16, and the sash is 1 and 12/16, which comes out to, so that's where and from the curve, you're not gonna lose 3 inches, because that's where the capping goes into, so I could send you the PDF file on all those statistics as well.
And even the front windows, they are visible from the street. Really gotta make an effort because they're up on the porch.
There's a tree in front of the house. Nobody ever goes to the house with a big tree in the front.
Everybody goes to your house.
Um,
All y'all are good friends.
Yeah.
so if the applicant is requesting,
Okay, let me review. First, does anybody have any problems with the doors?
No.
The storm doors?
No.
Okay, how about the fact that we're using this fibrous
I don't,
material?
I don't have an issue with it.
I don't either.
Okay. I guess my only question as far as the Fibrex is that never worry about scraping or painting your windows again.
Let's not get
Don't
too
create more
crazy
work.
with there's zero maintenance, because everything has maintenance, otherwise it ends up in the garbage.
And you're double painting too.
Lower maintenance, we can agree on lower maintenance.
Right, because one of the big objections that we have concerning artificial materials is the fact that it usually is not paintable. In other words, if you wanted to paint it, you couldn't, because it just doesn't absorb the paint. Am I correct that this at least is porous to some extent?
Well, we're getting white,
Okay.
and we don't want to keep it white.
Right.
All right.
But in the future, are
Right.
the,
Is
You
it
decide-
paintable? Is it a paintable?
Is it a
material?
paintable
Yeah.
material?
I don't see why you couldn't paint it.
that's a question for Joe and Nick.
You can, if you prime it, you can absolutely paint it, but we don't recommend it, because once you paint it, it becomes maintenance.
Okay. All right. All right, so then,
You want to do a little spot.
all right,
But now it's been here for 100 years,
that's
so
right.
And I
it's
don't
gonna
wanna-
be here for
I don't
another
wanna-
100.
I don't wanna
Whether,
slow down.
whether you're living in it or not, it's gonna be here for another 125.
Okay, so then we're down to the windows and how they're installed, and what we're talking about is possibly the holding off as far as approval on the front 5 until we've had a chance to discuss it a little bit more fully.
Yes, that's what I would prefer to do.
Okay,
And I'm comfortable moving forward with the approval of the rest of the house.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. So
Okay.
with that, let me take a vote on the application. And I will recap the application. The doors, the windows in the entire house, except for the 5 in the front. Do I have a motion concerning that? As, you know, as.
Lauren, you want to take the lead on this, or?
Wait, so you're at.
Right, I'm writing a script for you.
But. I can make a motion.
So you're gonna make a motion to approve the application as modified to include only storm doors and
windows on
all windows except front.
Just recap what you want us to measure,
Yeah, and then we'll go over that.
because you don't underwrite it.
So, Laura,
that's your motion.
There's a motion to approve the application as modified to include the storm doors and replacement of all the windows except the street facing facade.
do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so that's approved. So let's talk about the front windows. I guess the question we have is there,
Well, to start, we need the information, which is the measurement from the edge of the trim to the beginning of the glass,
This is
correct?
the
Yeah,
window.
there you
We
go.
need- This is the frame. Like this would be like this very outside part, not the
vinyl.
sash. Yeah,
Where
the
where your
vinyl.
trim is beginning, right there, right?
Like, so you're saying from where the aluminum casing
Yeah, this point where it
Yeah.
meets the actual window,
Yeah.
right there.
See, that.
I know, I'm just showing because it's the
It
clearest.
confuses me.
I mean, it's, let's see.
Yeah, you said-
I suppose you could,
So I measure from,
can't really see
from the
it,
aluminum, from,
you know, like that point.
you want the glass measurement? Is that what you're saying?
Where the glass begins,
This piece here.
this is the aluminum, okay, you drew it well. There's the aluminum frame. So from here to here,
Right.
right?
Which is
Which
the
is the
wood.
wooden sash.
The wood
Right.
sash
Okay.
and what's visible of the wood frame as
Right.
well.
And then these mullions too.
Yeah.
No clue.
Let's see if we have a,
Every
That's why I'm
single
going-
one of
okay,
those
here,
windows,
here.
I noticed
All right.
absolutely.
again, this is a back window, but from that point
Right.
to that point, right?
So-
All of that. So you
Right.
want the frame
Well, that's a storm, so you wanna go from
from the edge of the trim, from the edge of that
You-
aluminum
you wanna go
molding to
from
the glass,
glass to the trim,
One
from the glass to the trim, correct?
in and out.
203, 202.
Outside.
201.
Outside only,
Okay. all
the
right.
exterior only.
Mhm.
101, 102,
And then the
Yeah.
wooden,
102, 103.
you wanna have this outer edge measurement,
So those are
the
the
top
31
the
inches
meeting
wide
rail.
and
and the mullion here.
61 inches
The
high.
top trim,
So I guess the question
and the
becomes,
grill.
It's called a meeting rail where the. two
what is
come
the,
meet.
because the existing sashes will come out and this will go in. So the question really is that, even at that point, it's it, furred out, is this a standard size window or is it
They're all
custom?
custom made,
They're all custom made.
so I'll speak to it, might be able to custom make it to meet the requirement.
Okay. All right.
So what is the maximum you'll allow then?
Well, it's gonna look similar to what we have now.
Okay,
Right.
so what we have now, say is 2 inches and 2 inches. You want at least 2 inches and 2 inches.
Not at least, at the most.
Okay, so I can go smaller,
Yes.
so I can't go bigger.
Mhm.
Right, because what we're trying to do is maintain the proportion of frame to glass.
Yeah.
Because these are all custom made, so I'll get in touch with them
Yeah.
tomorrow. We
Okay.
might be able to.
They might have some other suggestions for ways to basically
What about-
keep the glass panes
Mhm.
to be roughly the same size, as close to the same size as you can.
I think probably a close-up photo, like the way you guys have this one, but a
Okay,
photo
so
of one
those
of
are
them.
30.
Yeah, maybe if you even go up on the front porch and zoom all the way out on your phone and just get like a clear picture of one of those windows on the front porch.
Mhm.
And maybe a detail of the profile of the mullions
Yeah.
too would be helpful.
Yeah.
All right,
So then can we get on the February agenda?
Yes, and actually our February meeting is gonna be earlier. This meeting was pushed back because of the holiday, so our February meeting will be on the 6th. So it's only,
Nick and
so it's
George,
actually soon. It's 2 weeks, or is that 3 weeks?
Nick and George, did you hear that? Did you get back by February 6th?
Absolutely, I'll be available then.
Okay, I'll email tomorrow to follow up on how to make these windows meet the requirement.
No problem. As soon as I return, I'll run out to your house and do the measurements as well.
We promise we won't be in our pajamas this time.
All right. All good.
I
Thank you,
apologize.
everybody, for your time.
And you
Thank you. Will it
understand,
be helpful for you to take this?
yes,
What is this?
you understand we're all set except for the front five.
And I,
So that's all measurements outside.
Thank you.
All right, so we'll
Thank you.
see you guys back
So they
in
don't have to
February.
print all these pictures again.
Yeah, we'll put it all back in there.
well, hang on. Do.
You need to
I have a
set,
whole packet. We need a whole.
we'll help me to set the process for the,
Well, that, and also I've got the one that has all the stamp.
You want us to stay?
And the receipt, oh, they all did. Okay, 16. All right, thank you.
Yeah, number of pages, so
Great.
Yeah,
I learned that in business.
okay.
And I apologize. I didn't get an architect, so you got a fairly simple presentation.
All good.
no, that's fine.
It was an excellent presentation.
Yeah,
Thank you.
okay.
I might make the 9 o'clock work for files.
careful walking up the hill.
We really want to stay and listen to Steve, so he can give us a ride back.
Okay, so
Okay, thanks again.
moving on to 89. We'll see you guys in a couple weeks.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Hello, guys.
Hi.
I'm Steve Smith, contractor there for 89 Wood Street. Little house in there, up here next to Catherine's. And Catherine's the one that's remodeling. The little cottage that we found out is from the early 1800s.
Cool.
Actually somebody said one of the school teachers did some history and found out that it was apparently rolled across the river on timbers, and that's where it was placed.
Oh, wow.
And it definitely was put there before the other two buildings, because the siding's from the inside was definitely still there, so.
Oh, wow, okay.
So, I know we started as windows, she did put in there today, because I didn't receive the email, she got the email. There's a couple different things we looked at. But she's also asking to try to change the front door also, because it's basically very drafty and thin as hell, and just like the windows.
These windows are not original.
They are they're wood double sashes inside there in the frames. They do not have any window leads or nothing that were with them, they're just stuck between
Yeah.
the sash.
Are they single pane or are they,
Yeah.
oh, they are.
Yeah, some are single pane, some are double, some are insulated, but they're so old that it's,
Right.
Okay, are you doing 2/1 or?
That's what we're asking for,
2/1?
2/1, right now it's 0/0. So
Which is sort of a little unusual for something this.
is all the,
No,
No?
no, I mean, I don't recall,
I would have expected 6/1 or 2/1.
6/1.
that's a small window though to have six.
Yeah.
that's
You're
the-
saying early 1800s?
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
Does anybody have a historic photo?
It is on the map here somewhere. I think the board found a map that has it. on
The house
there,
itself.
The house itself, and it's the only house back there beside, and nothing else around it. The only thing that was actually still was there was the brick building in the back on Rock Street, which was actually a schoolhouse.
What are there any windows in the back? Are there any?
There
Divided
is,
windows
there is two in the back. I do not have it. So basically, if you look at the front wall, as it was here, there's two basically that were in line with these on the back. The back wall, when we renovated, it was rotted out, and we had to basically restructure the wall when we did it. So we just plywooded over and just left the whole basically the same size as what was there for these. So.
But were those 1/1 or were they,
Yes.
they were 1/1 as well?
So I didn't get a picture of that back wall. Like I said, it was last minute. I was able to put these together. But I mean, it depends on which alleyway you look through behind from Rock Street to see if you see the back of it. So.
Right. So these are wood.
Well, what I have is I have a vinyl clad on one for the outside, which the Terratone or whatever color she picked is the first one I think mentioned in the.
Yeah, there's 3 different windows,
Yeah.
there, right?
Yeah, because what it is one, there's the third one
Oh,
is truly divided, really don't like, okay, which she asked for, but that was outrageously priced too. And it was wood on wood. So the second one is wood on wood, the third one's wood on wood, the first one is vinyl clad wood inside. So that's the only difference really. So it's just her decision if we were gonna go with the truly divided.
Which has a much thicker mutton. than
Right,
the metal,
exactly,
so
yeah, because
I'm fine.
Well, that also may be moot if it is determined that 1/1 is
Yeah, what?
better than 2/1. And
There is a historic photo, there's not. I
There
mean,
is, not a front, we just have an aerial map, though, like a map of it, that was all that there is.
And I don't know, if I heard Tom ask, but are there any divided lights on the windows anywhere? in the
No.
house?
No, just the door is the only thing that had to divide it. Like,
And what does she want to do? And she wants the door
the
to.
door, she wanted to change a little, she either wanted to go with just the glass panel that size, or basically with a divided. Then, but just lower, because that one's
Yeah, this is kind of,
it's kind of higher, you know, and it's up on that porch up in the back. So she was trying to kind of like blend it more into the commercial area up in the back of the courtyard there to kind of look, so it didn't, you know, feel so much as somebody's house at the top of the stairs at the, you know.
oh, is it no longer gonna be a house?
It is.
Oh,
It is, but
Okay.
she's going to live there. So
Okay.
she was just, yeah, so she was just trying to, you know, kind of make it
Feel a little
little
nicer
bit-
when she's
right, we
sitting
don't-
inside,
Well,
looking out onto
yeah.
the courtyard.
Okay, so the
Yeah,
windows,
alright.
the cut
Don't-
sheets that you
don't
have
question my
here.
window knowledge here.
What, they push it a little bit.
No, he's I mean, those are replacement windows.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't gonna get into the vinyl replacements next
Yeah.
door, but I was like, you know what, I'll leave that.
Early 1800s.
Okay,
This is
okay,
an
I defer.
unusual, it would be much more common for there to be, look at McCaffrey's house on Main Street, look at Luke's old house, those were 6/1s, those
Could have
are.
been like a 1900s replacement.
Those are
Like,
replacement windows without a doubt.
Yeah.
It's more a matter of, you know, were
Right.
they,
What are
were they
the
always 1/1 or
highest?
not, but I mean.
Yeah, and
I
that's the
think
hard
it's-
part, it's like it's so far back off of Main Street that it, you know, like I said, if you take the view I have from way out at the front, you barely see it. And then when her umbrellas are up,
Right.
you don't see
Yeah.
any of them, so it's like,
My house is 1850. The windows on the original side of it are 6/, well, those are 6/6 actually, but. And then the later 1870s is like the 2/2. I mean, I think personally, a divided light on, at least on the upper sash is more appropriate personally. No one else agrees.
Oh, no, I agree.
No, I think
Absolutely,
it's,
Yeah, yeah.
I think, you know, it's this weird thing where it's like, even if even if a really simple 1/1 window is more appropriate. If it's a brand new window, it can look very modern, you know, like there's this,
I thought these were.
there's sometimes like what's appropriate and what's like
no,
the
they're not.
sources.
Yeah.
Okay, so as far as the construction of the windows themselves, we are considering either a vinyl clad wood window or a all wood window, wood exterior, wood interior, or an all wood window with a actual divided true divided light. I don't think that anyone on our board would require a true divided light, so if that is something that the applicant wants to pursue, that is something that they can
that like
pursue.
boosted the price, like, you know, a few $100s per unit.
I actually think also visually, on a historic window, you're never gonna have. You would have a very thin mutton line, so the
Right.
fact that
Is why.
to accommodate all of the thickness in modern windows, they have to grow everything.
Yeah.
So this is less visually, less historically accurate than just kind of faking it with an applied.
Right.
mutton.
My only thing, like you said, I've never really, as I said, I've seen it, and
Yeah.
I'm just curious on what the shadow line looks like with, you know, like, I know it's gonna be a glass piece, so you're looking inside the, glass panel to see,
Yeah,
you know, where the other's a black shadow line to make it look.
you've
like,
got
you
the
know,
seal all the way around that
Right.
insulated glass,
Yeah.
plus the
Plus
thickness
the
of the
thick-
mutton,
correct.
so it adds bulk that's, I agree, Sean, unnecessary, so. Yeah, I don't see any reason to.
And the windows themselves are they new construction windows? They're all new construction windows, so they're not inserts. And so we generally approve aluminum clad wood windows without question. Vinyl clad windows, we require, they are approved on, composite materials are approved on a case by case basis based on visibility and all these other things. So we could approve a vinyl clad window.
We would rather. not.
It would be great if
Well, if
it
option
would be
2 is
great
on
if
the table
if
here,
the option were either a wood window or an aluminum clad wood window. That would make our job a little bit easier.
I guess my question is that what is the difference between an aluminum clad wood window and a vinyl clad wood window?
That is something that should have come up when we were writing our design guideline for the past 7 years. but.
I mean, the finish and the sheen on aluminum is gonna be different than plastic for sure. I don't
I
think
mean, the difference, I
either.
mean, you're also talking like with the, you know, as a vinyl, it's basically, it's baked on there, so like you're, you know, it's not talk, you know. The color's baked, and it's in there, it's solid, it's clean, you know, it's basically, I mean, I would say it's almost like the aluminum, I mean, I would think the aluminum would actually have a more of a. Possibly have more of a, you know, of a sheen to it more than the vinyl itself, because the vinyl you can bake, so it could be like a matte finish or, you know, more of a dull.
Right. Really, our concern comes more from the construction of the window itself, and like an extruded vinyl window, like a hollow core vinyl window is what we're.
Right,
we historically been trying to get away from.
there's no question about it, because you know, that's cheaper quality to begin with.
Right.
But I think that I don't find a significant difference between the vinyl clad wood window and the aluminum clad wood window.
Okay, so.
So I mean,
You should be very clear when we.
yes.
I mean, I
I'll
personally
provide
would
it.
like to see that personally. I can't really imagine liking vinyl at all, so.
Well, I'll tell you because Anderson, this is an Anderson window. Anderson came out with them first, and they were quite popular before the aluminum clad wood window took over. I think the only real differences in durability, the vinyl clad obviously will not take abuse as well as the aluminum does. But the thing is that you know, I think that I mean, if we're gonna go with the clad window, I don't have any problem with the aluminum or the vinyl clad.
Well, we've been given three options here, so is number two, I mean, if.
Well, it was basically, you know.
Yeah.
You know, it was her thing originally was as I said, number one was the vinyl, because it's the color she wants, you know, for the outside, so it's already,
Which is white,
no, it's, the.
what is it? Terracotta?
Terracotta, yeah.
Pebble.
It's
Pebble
a-
gray.
it's yeah, it's pebble gray terracotta, like it's. I don't have this, I did have a sample of it in my other truck that I forgot to.
Oh,
bring
okay.
with me, So.
I mean, I think
Well, we
I
have
would
no
wanna.
control over
Well, we don't have
color.
control over color, but we have. Material as it relates to color is,
How it is finished, we have control over.
yeah,
Yeah, because that was basically where it comes down to now, like, you know, the door itself, of course, we did it in wood, but we'd be. Basically getting the guys to basically spray it and paint it to match the exact color, whatever, you know.
yeah.
Tone we pick for the, you know, their number, color match it.
Right, whereas if the windows themselves are wood and the door is wood,
We have to color, we have to paint it and do everything.
everything would just be
whatever.
painted to match.
So,
I personally, I think I would wanna see the sample of the vinyl.
well, I guess it'd be here.
We have to vote on some minutes. We could be here for another 10 minutes.
I can run up the street and grab it,
Oh,
make it easy, for that way you can see the color and the finish, so,
okay.
all right.
Yeah, I'd like to see what the material looks like.
Yeah.
We actually are required to have that.
Okay.
I did have it, like I said.
Composite material.
Except I grabbed the other truck, so, all right, I'll be right back.
Okay.
All right, we'll table this. We will go on to
Minute.
minutes. I'm assuming there's no public comment. No, there is no public. No one's here.
No.
I had one. Since we're not doing the minutes on will you take notes for the minutes to give to Karen? Sure. Or do you want me to do it? I can do it. I had nothing. Oh, sorry, November 7th. Yeah,
Yes, you were.
and
Workshop number one, I have a comment. On the first paragraph, no review is required as opposed to application.
we did not have to actually review this, although we were asked to, because number one, it's on public property, and number two, it is a non-permanent
It's a piece of furniture. That's
street furniture.
right. Page 2, I have a comment.
Yes.
Jay Thompson noted that the signage will appear different from the other tenants in that the other sites have hangers on canopies for signage. Oh, okay. I'm not sure what that meant. In other words, the canopies have hangers.
Yeah, I think it's the hyphen can be struck, because they're not hangers on, they're hangers on canopies.
Hangers on.
I think we should just say have
Canopies.
canopies. Yeah, we'll just strike it off.
Or how about canopy hangers for signage?
Well,
Well, they
Don't.
don't have canopy hangers.
they're
They have-
either,
It's a canopy
It's a-
onto which you're attaching signage.
yeah, which is either gonna be on top or hanging down from, I would imagine, but.
It's not like a marquee where it's all on the bottom, it's all on the top.
Right. It just, English didn't make sense.
Yes.
On page 3, Anne McBride's name, it's Anne, not Hannah. And that was my other comment.
All right, page 4. First paragraph. McBride, or the McBride dash Alien is flexible with the door style. And then the board comment, third sentence down, decking, there's this space needs to be taken out. Third sentence down.
Oh, on the bottom?
Yeah. Decking materials. Okay, page 5. The last paragraph. It says board members commented on the proposed placement of a stainless steel vent pipe on the primary facade for wood burning stove. And suggested solutions to the ponds.
Well, the pipe wasn't gonna be on the primary facade, the pipe was gonna be on the, yeah, it was gonna be,
Well, it would be viewable from the at the primary facade. Because that's where the pipe came through the roof. And, you know, this is sort of a moot point because he said they're doing away with the stove, right? So why don't we say, DuPont to investigate and just leave it at that? I mean, it seemed like suggested solution to the DuPont.
well, we didn't really suggest solutions. What we really said was, he proposed a stainless steel vent pipe, which as drawn was not code compliant. So what we said was, that's actually gotta be 2 feet taller than, it's gotta be 2 feet off the ridge beam.
Right.
And you might wanna consider something else. But we weren't really giving, yeah, we weren't really giving design solutions. So I think what we should just say is that board members commented that the proposed well, it wasn't even the proposed placement, it was the proposed stainless steel vent pipe was not, for the wood burning stove, was not code compliant.
Oh, I got.
Because that's really what it was. Okay. So can I have a motion, or I will make a motion to approve the November meeting minutes as modified?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye. And I didn't have anything on the December.
Okay, I only had stuff on the first. Okay, and extend storefront and create and extend the covered porch, which will solve 2 problems. Right? The second one, correct uneven treads which are currently skewed and present a hazard. I don't think that's the issue there. The issue is that the steps vary because the sidewalk is sloped.
Correct.
And so,
Yeah.
so I'd like to change it to correct varying steps because of the sloping sidewalk, and steps will be protected from the weather by the covered porch.
Well, so it's not the treads that aren't even, it's the,
It's a sloping sidewalk.
it's
Yeah,
the,
sidewalk.
it's the riser heights are uneven.
No, I don't think you can even say that.
Yeah, it is. Cause it's no. 'cause
Well,
with-
one way of explaining it is as the steps are, they're changing things because of the steps, and the other version is this. The sidewalk is not, you know.
Well, the sidewalk creates varying steps. Because obviously the entry level has to be an average, and they have to pick a spot where they enter the building. So it's not a question that the steps are skewed. It's a question that for each entrance, there's a different set of risers and treads, because it's a different elevation from a
But
different
it's not for
elevation.
each entrance, it's for the actual entrance steps themselves. If you go up the steps to Aries Shop, if you're on the left side of the step, the riser is compliant, and if you're on the right side, it's too tall. So it's the actual, it's not that the two staircases are inconsistent, it's that the steps themselves, the steps are level to gravity, but not parallel to the slope of the street.
Isn't it almost a moot point, because they're proposing making the steps exit off the.
Well, I think what we
either
could just
side.
say is that it corrects we can say that it corrects, you know, either an unsafe or it corrects an uncompliant
Well,
entry stair.
well, but that's an interesting question. Is the floor level the same
Yes.
throughout the
Well, they're
entire building?
proposing it, yes, it is, it is.
I don't know if
It
it is from
It is,
both from the residential side and
it
the.
is a single level floor
Okay.
on the interior.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what would you like me to say?
Do we not have another building on Main Street?
Oh, we have loads of them.
No, I know where this. Right, I mean, Leonora's old shop was the same. just
Well,
one
that's
giant
just it. I mean, each
The whole
door
street is a
has,
slip and slide. I
yeah,
mean,
each
like-
door has its own set of stairs and in some cases, conflicts between, you know, it just that if the stair itself is crooked, then why hasn't the building inspector cited them for non-compliant? I mean, that doesn't comply with the code. I know, it's not our point to any.
Yeah, we've got our sample.
What is
Can I ask one question on that? Because is it in the building code, a porch doesn't require a railing if it's under 30 inches? So,
Well, you're not required to have a guardrail, unless the height difference is, I think, 42 inches. Or could be 30 inches. But if you have any treads, then you have to have a handrail.
okay,
Which this building doesn't have.
But that's also not
That-
the
Okay,
issue. So what should we say that the extend storefront and create an extended porch, which will solve two problems, safer access to the building, and let's just say removing
hazardous steps,
hazardous
and will protect them from the weather.
steps, front steps. Okay.
All right,
I would like to be,
wait, one other thing, instead of bump out, let's call it an extension.
Where is
Next sentence. Next two sentences. Rear yard bump out.
I mean, this doesn't have any of our actual commentary about any of it either. Coming back.
Is that,
We didn't really give them any comment. I mean,
I
all
mean,
we
I
said
did
was,
say that the porch, I brought up the front porch thing, the covered porch.
being,
Um,
with the light issue.
with the light issue, with
Yeah.
the kind of overall Main Street streetscape.
I think because it's a workshop, it's non-binding. So I will make a motion to accept the minutes as modified.
Do I have a second?
You can't vote.
Oh, I can't vote. Okay.
I'll second.
No, I don't.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, sample
Because,
time.
Okay. This is the finish, but this goes on wood as opposed to this.
Correct.
I mean, it's look like paint.
Is it paintable?
Technically, everything is paintable.
Yeah.
Depends on how much work you wanna put in.
Everything paintable.
Depends who you're asking and
The
how much
prep
they
it,
want
you know,
something.
Whatever, you know.
You hire the right painter.
I mean, yeah.
These are, wait, so this is
It's an Anderson.
old Trex, that's what they call it, old Trex.
It's a different color, it's basically, that's the color, that was the color key chart they had for me.
Oh, so this isn't the material, this is just the color.
That's the material, basically, that's what the finish will be like. that
That's
finish
the
right there.
finish on
On wood.
on a solid wood window. Well, yeah, I mean, I guess if it ends up looking not great, then you sand it down and paint it. I mean, it's still a wood window under it.
Well, you can't stand it.
That's debatable, I think.
Yeah.
No, you want to
So
be
what
sand
Likely
it.
is the entire thing. is-
Let's recap the, any, do we have any comment or issues regarding the door?
Oh, no, I don't.
I think if
I mean,
you're
with a
doing,
door with a little more glass, I think, I don't see any issue with that.
yeah, and I think if it's, whether it's all glass or divided glass, either is. I mean, I guess the divided is more in keeping with what's existing, but
I think the only thing she was trying to go without the glasses because like the store, the restaurant doesn't have any, you know, like, so the door is all glass and going into the restaurant, so she was just.
Well, except don't you want to differentiate so people don't go to the all glass?
How I kind of took it that way, but she was looking at it the other way for some reason, because it's all piece, it's because she goes, it's all one property, it's not separated, or whatever, it's all zoned as one, so.
Okay.
I
So,
have no opinion on it.
Lauren,
What is the glass on the door? And like patterns, thermal.
It's just basically, it's insulated panel, except it's just gonna be clear, except it's just for a little bit longer.
It's clear glass. It's just this picture is kind of weird.
Yes, yeah, so, I mean, if they want, if you're required to be frosted of some sort, then, you know, but I don't think it's, no, it'll be clear like everything else, it's just that's the way the picture. It's just that instead of having the two wood panels below, so it's half and half,
Right.
you're eliminating one of the wood panels and bringing the glass down a little bit more. More because also like when she's in the house and you look outside, you can kind of see down more down through the courtyard on the angle to see like
Yeah, it's a
people
nice
coming up or whatever, so.
I don't know that I have an opinion on the divided nature of the door glass either. to be
I don't
totally
care, I
honest.
think she can do whichever one she wants.
Lauren,
You don't, yeah.
As long as
I mean,
it's a wood door with
It's-
real
it's
glass,
Not
yeah.
very different
The
from
wood
what
glass,
is there.
wood door, real, you know, just an insulated glass panel with a thorough seal, you know, jam and everything proper.
Lauren, do you have an opinion on the divided nature of the glass or whether it's one piece of glass that's there? Because the tenant would prefer one piece of glass.
That's fine.
we're not talking about a screen door, we're talking about the.
Just
This is the door, this is the only
That's it,
door.
That's it. Yeah, there's no storm doors right now, and I mean, I guess if she was to put one, it would probably be completely full glass.
Right.
But I don't even think that's in the. It wasn't never one on there, nothing, so she's never even discussed it or.
That's, I mean, it does kind of change things if it's not a screen door, if it's not a second door, and there's no solid behind it.
I don't know, yeah, but I would feel kind of strange having my front door all glass. I mean, but
But again, like I said.
it's not my house.
Right, and the thing is, like she also says, she's up, you know, it's almost 7.5 feet from the courtyard up to the, you know, to that height, so.
I mean, but I guess in terms of what is the most historically appropriate, it would be more wood rather than less wood, right? On the house. of this
Yeah,
area.
I would think so. Do we know, how old the building is?
Yeah.
We know it's early 1800s of some sort, early 1800s.
All right, I mean, I would prefer something closer to what she's got.
Okay.
Because, in other words, a divided light as opposed to all glass, because I think in all glass, it just, it doesn't seem appropriate to a building of this old. Okay,
Alright, so we're all, Sean doesn't care, so.
Okay, so it's option 2 is what we're approving.
Okay, so do we, all right, so the question that I have is to divide it, to do it more, well, we're doing a divided, but you're saying
Yeah.
more to the original
Wait, option,
as is
well,
there,
we,
so.
we have no
oh,
assurance.
option one is
that-
glass,
that-
only option two is divided. glass.
Yeah, that
Correct.
this is in fact, the, historic door.
No, we don't, no, we
Alright,
don't.
so my feeling is that as long as we're in the ballpark, this is in the ballpark. As opposed to something which is all glass.
That's all glass, we just put some kind of divider in there if you want. Now, do we do it a a T cross like that, or do we try to match, or just do a split in the middle to match the windows?
I think this.
Okay, four pads, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, windows. First, let's start with, upper sash. How many lights do we have in the upper sash? She would like to have 2.
I prefer two.
Sure, 2 over 1. Okay.
All
I think 2 over 1 is close to 1 over 1. Definitely.
right, so now we get down to the nitty gritty. It's what,
That's what happens if you give us too many options.
Yeah.
So we're dealing with a wood window, and the question really is that, what you guys would like to have is a vinyl clad, wood window. All right,
I mean, the only,
I stated my opinion, so.
You did?
I beat it to death.
What is your opinion?
Well, I don't have any problem with vinyl clad wood window. I have a problem with vinyl windows, but a vinyl clad wood window. Especially that, with this being that far from the street. I mean, obviously, people coming to the restaurant will see it or are a lot closer, but even so, it's still.
so my question I have is just in general for anybody, when it comes to this, because of just seeing where my price range was going, and I mean, with the vinyl clad already done and finished for the outside, that's the lower end price of the, for the budget, for the window. Except for just basic, the labor to install is all the same for every which one. The problem is now, each one of these now require, if we go the other way, now requires a painter.
Right.
So it's plus the fee is higher is for the bare wood to be actually, is higher than what the clad already is. So, like it's using better wood. Right, because so you're already, so like, where does the homeowner, whatever, with the budget have the say of
I mean,
part?
that argument can be played out in all sorts of ways
Every
with
part.
historic buildings, right?
Correct,
Because the
everything can
cheaper
be-
option up front rarely is the cheaper option in the long run.
But it meets what but I'm saying but it meets the.
Yeah,
requirement.
sure, for now, and then, right, but just in
Okay.
general, right, you're spending less now, and then 10 years from now, it's presumably, not gonna hold up the same if, as a well-maintained full wood window, but that is not what we're.
Well, and you have to understand that the historic district, it was created and it is an asset to the village.
Right.
And realistically, we can't let cost be a primary driver. because ultimately it needs to respect the historic buildings that are in the district. Obviously, this is an old building which, you know, should be respected to some extent. You know, it's not an individual landmark, but it's in the historic district, and so it needs to look like, something which is sympathetic to a building of that era.
I think the color, honestly, of all of these options hides the sort of true aspects of the material better than like if you were going with like this or something. I don't know. I mean, I guess given the distance from actual Main Street, it's not as bad as I was expecting. And like I said, I think the color actually does hide some of the materiality to it that I don't love, so. Al's usually the biggest stickler here, so you got him on board. Sean?
Yeah, I think it's fine.
Okay.
2/1 vinyl clad. We cannot, however, stipulate that it will be that color. We can only stipulate that it will be that material. So with that risk, fully aware of that risk, I still think that the material, you know, I mean, I think it looks strong. To Al's point, it looks like it looks like it could be a painted wood window. And it doesn't have any like fake grain in it or any like that bullshit, so.
Lauren?
But I just, had like questions about so these are standard size windows.
The size of the opening.
Oh, so you're just putting in a sash.
I'm putting, no, that's the openings that are in the building. That's the existing openings that were there. So these are new construction.
In new construction,
Yeah.
so you're not putting in any spacer bars or anything between the sash or anything. Okay, I just saw something about spacer bars, so I just.
Oh,
wanted to
that's the
make sure.
filler for where the sash in for where the other piece is. There's a filler in between where the glass, but you don't see it where behind the mullion or whatever it is. I think that's
The
what
spacer bar
for the
probably
house, yeah.
simulated divided light.
Divided light, so that's all that is. No, everything's being brought right out to the studs, down, you know, packed out on the outside, nail flanges, and then, you know, new wood trim, 5/4, regular wood pine trim on the outside. And
Okay, so let me recap the application as I understand it right now. The wood window, or rather wood door with a divided light. Option number 2. Right, divided glass. The windows, and I guess it's Marvin windows, 2/1, with wood, vinyl clad wood.
Full new construction.
Right. And these are not insert windows, these are replacement windows.
so these are brand new construction.
New construction.
New construction with nail flange, everything.
Yeah.
So everything's being taken right out to the outside down to the studs and the sub, you know, plywood. We'll pack it out with plywood behind it so we can get it to be out past the trim and everything, so. Because most likely she's probably gonna end up replacing the little bit of trim that's above on that piece up there, but, you know,
Okay, so is that this one? In other words, I have to approve, I have
Option
to,
2,
option.
or
2.
sorry, option 1, you're right, option 1.
Option 1.
So I would make a motion to approve the application reflecting window option 1 and door option 2.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye,
Aye. You got it.
okay.
thank you very much.
Al will process all of this over the weekend and he will send it to the building inspector. Do you have an email address that we can copy you on, or should we just copy?
It should be in the application, but I can give it to you.
I think we only had Greg and, oh wait, oh, S. Smith contract? Great.
That's all in there.
All right.
Not that, that's it.
I think we should make it sure that the minutes reflect that part of the approval of this, at least on my part, is due to the distance from Main Street.
Yes.
Because just wait for the vinyl clad applications to start rolling in for every building up and down Main Street.
Isn't the one 2 doors up from one terrace? The dark brown or black, isn't that vinyl clad?
2 doors up
The second building up on Main
on
Street?
terrace. On the,
On Main Street.
Yeah.
The
brick-
yellow?
brick- No, the next one up, the brick one.
The brick one.
I
with the
wasn't
kind
here
of
when
light
those
blue
were
windows.
No. No, that's the next one up. There's a brick one right after the yellow one, I believe. I think it is.
I'm not.
It's either have like a terratone or a black, they have, I think, windows. I don't know if the sashes were just replaced or whatever,
I
but
wasn't on the board, so.
I don't know how long.
Al,
wasn't.
What did you approve? I don't know.
Yeah, does it predate the Civil War before Al joined the board?
Yeah, but it didn't even get approved, so, you know, like,
Right.
you know.
I don't know
Or
if it
someone
got
on a
approved.
dark
The
night.
one I'm thinking of is the brick building with the kind of light blue trim that's all kind of gutted inside like a loft. That I remember
Yeah.
talking to the guy about. I can't imagine we would have approved vinyl clad windows unless.
I mean, unless they're aluminum, and they could be aluminum.
Well,
but-
they're probably aluminum. Our design guidelines have changed. So our old design guidelines used to allow vinyl windows.
No, never allowed vinyl windows.
Vinyl clad windows.
Vinyl clad
In
windows.
the National District. Pursuant to them being in a historically relevant color, which we never enforced. But you weren't allowed to put them in the local district, but now our design guidelines have changed, so now both districts are treated the same. Composite windows need to, a sample to be approved. And aluminum windows and wood windows are encouraged. Aluminum clad wood windows.
Should we note the thing about it being so significantly set back?
I mean, I want that to be on the, like, public, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely set back further from the street because even though it's the courtyard is part of the restaurant, the public right of way is the sidewalk.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not considered public right of way.
Yeah.
So, it is set back significantly far.
So, well, to some extent, if it's a public access to the thing, it is part of the public right of way. But still, it is, even from the courtyard, it is set back quite a way, not quite a ways, but it's
I
set
don't think
back.
that that's accurate though, because we're not able to consider the parking lot at St. Mary's Street a public right of way.
Well, I beg to differ because
You're allowed to leave.
well, the feedback I have, the reason why it was changed to a public way, because prior to this, it was from the street. It changed to public way was because there was work going on at the foundry. And
visible from the water.
well, yeah, we needed, no, and I think there was an applicant who was far enough away from the street, but it was visible from the river.
Right.
And so we changed it so that it would be in fact reviewable.
Right.
But the foundry, it was because that was a public space, or when it was open, it's open to the public.
Right.
So therefore, it was considered a public way. The parking lot was considered a public way.
Well, in that case,
In that case.
I will make a motion.
No, we have to
Wait,
talk about our
wait,
meeting
wait,
schedule first. We.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
So. The meeting schedule, I looked at all of the dates for the first Tuesdays of each month. The only one that conflicts with any sort of a holiday is November, it's election day, so I bumped it to 12th, 1 week. So I mean, we don't have to approve or deny this, but going forward, I think we can keep to the first Tuesday of each month, given quorum, and if we cancel in August for vacations or whatever, we can do that. But I'm gonna share this again with everybody, and if you can just mark off any days that you're not gonna be around. For anyone who has a calendar for the entire year or laid out.
Yeah.
then we can, know if any other dates need to be moved.
Best estimates.
Best estimate.
All right, any questions?
You're gonna email that, Thomas, or right now?
It's on the Google Drive, but I'll just send everybody the link again, just to read. I mean, it's the same one from last year, I just updated it.
It gets easier as you go along, once you get used to this stride.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
I do actually have a question. Do we have any drawings that are like really good that we can show people, like an application showing like existing drawings, proposed things
Well,
like that?
Here's
Just a sample.
Like a sample to be like, this
Here-
is the kind of window information. that we need.
Here is the issue with that. One of the problems that we had earlier on was people would not submit applications because they were concerned, sort of like the Fomanskis, that, they're going to be raked over the coals who, what, and where.
Mhm.
So we made it a point to keep the drawing requirements as simple and straightforward as possible in order to allow,
Like
to encourage people to, in fact, submit applications.
But you're asking if we have examples to show people, not do we require drawings?
Yeah, just so, like, for people that aren't in the business.
No, and I mean, and I
It might
sent,
just be
I sent
helpful.
Carol and Ken a photo of a insert window to kind of describe the framing of it and how it sits in the historic opening. Just because I have one in my house. And it's a particularly egregious one, so I think if people see it, they probably get freaked out. But we have some drawings in the design guidelines.
And I have 1850s original wood windows in my whole house, so.
Which will show
Are they
anybody
so-
that
That's
wants to
really
see
wonderful.
them.
They are.
I know, I'm like, can I?
He carries around
Windows when you-
carries around pictures in his wallet like a child. Okay, I will make a motion to adjourn.
Oh, second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 All right, so the next
And 12.
meeting is,
The next meeting is on February 6th, and we should have our 5th member seated by then.
and the.
Yeah, her name is Kate Van Voorhees. She's an architect. She lives on Fair Street.
I didn't know her. She's kind of new to town.
So,